Howdy, this is Confed Yank, and I'd like to cover an apples-to-apples comparison, but the brands are going to be Royal Enfield and Janus. The reason I say apples-to-apples is generally over the internet, people like to cover apples to grapes. And kind of point out is that nobody talks about the Halcyon 450 versus the Royal Enfield 650. Or the Royal Enfield 350 versus the Halcyon 250, or any of that. But I'd like to cover to that, and I'm probably going to bring in some Triumph because some of y'all may know. But while Royal Enfield is a bargain bin price, what people want to deny is its bargain bin parts. Alright, first part I'm going to cover is the brakes. The brakes are a suggestion on it. Now, I will give thank you to Motojitsu for learning me how to, well, it was actually kind of, I think, before I saw his videos on that, but I definitely got practice. But go check out his videos on how to engine brake while using your front brakes, because that was very much needed on the Royal Enfield. You can replace the master with the Brembo and just stop like normal. But if you want to see what my reaction to the brakes on Royal Enfield 650s, go look at her two wheels, her recent video on her husband's motorcycle. But yeah, if you want to make it Janus quality, remember that premium price out the factory, you have to actually replace the whole system with Brembo, because that's what comes on the Halcyon 450. Now the second part is the seat. The seat on it is actually so bad. Outside of the toxic simps, people have only rated it as bad as the KTM or worse. To me, it still feels like I'm sitting on a brick wall and my butt goes numb. Now that being said, if you disagree that this is a bargain bin price part, I recommend going to the Royal Enfield site and you will see that they have an upgrade for it. The standard upgrade, which makes it like every other bike out there with some foam padding at all. And that being said, like, this is a sergeant seat, and Halcyon 450 comes with a sergeant seat. They're really comfortable, and that's kind of what I'm spoiled by, but at the exact same time, I could deal with a foam seat on a Triumph perfectly fine. It's fairly comfortable. Now the third part I'm going to talk about is more of a general area with the drivetrain. For Royal Enfield, kind of doesn't entirely lose on this one. Its horsepower is rated the same as Janus, which is really sad to tell for its story. When out the gate, and it's like, a lot of people will tell you that, hey, you know, just do the stage 1 upgrade, you know, the filter, exhaust, and the tune. And the exhaust is automatic. There is the SNS because the motor was designed by SNS to be upgraded. It's basically a 900 sized down to a 650. And that's the thing about it, is the Triumph T100 pretty much is similar with that in the motor, except for it's a full 900. And you get that rumble, the actual throaty rumble that a lot of people brag about in the Royal Enfield. And if you've tried both bikes, you tend to lean towards Triumph because it's like, it's already done, not that much more expensive. The other thing is about the horsepower being that weak. The Janus is actually 80 pounds less, but Janus also isn't innocent because it's actually missing the 6th gear. I'm still looking for that 6th gear. I'm looking for that 6th gear in this. That being said, 6th gear is nice to actually bring the RPMs down, not just for going fast or whatever, and it can increase your fuel range. You know, it'd be really nice to get to stretch that extra gallon. So that being said, it's not perfect. But at the exact same time, I think one of the problems is you get people who think a bike is perfect. Now Janus also can't upgrade the performance on it, which is kind of a drawback, but it is what it is. I would like to see a 6th gear in it, being it's more the highway type. Now, for both bikes, both Royal Enfield and Janus, I would like to see a kickstart added. The reason being is both of them have the audience for that kind of retro additive to it. On all their prior motorcycles, they've had electric and kickstart. That being said, that allowed for, very retro vibes. And a lot of people like that, and that's what kept these two brands particularly very popular. And, that being said, Royal Enfield is still a bargain bike. It's a great canvas if you want to rebuild it like Jordan Ray does. Or if you just want to get on super windy, twisty roads and you want to get there, a Halcyon 450 is a pretty good bike for that. They each have their niche for it. And that's one of the things I like about motorcycles in general, is they have a niche for them. So with that, I hope you have a good one.